Piece me together, figure me out, solve my case, leave no doubt, no stone unturned. Weave your webs, bridges are burned, connect the threads. The bodies keep piling up. How much death is enough? Such a killer, a weapon at heart. Slay the sinner, break them apart. Sometimes justice isn't enough. Sometimes the monsters call your bluff. Just keep it in mind, if they do the crime, they'll pay in blood or with time.
All right, thank you both, counsel. I've read and considered the written briefs and the oral argument on this issue. I do agree with the people that while evidence of this victim's prior act of homicide is relevant and admissible, any other prior conduct is inadmissible under Evidence Code Section 1101. People's request to exclude all other violent acts of the victim is granted. No attorney or witness will refer to any bad acts by the victim except for evidence that the victim committed a homicide the week prior against the defendant's friend. But I'm going to tell the jury that the homicide is only relevant because it tends to show the defendant's motive. It is not relevant to establish any legal defense to murder. That wraps up our pretrial motions in this case. We'll order a jury panel for Monday, October 3rd. Mr. Rockford, will your law clerk be handling any witnesses for you during trial? Yes, she's certified, Your Honor, and I'm planning for her to handle a couple of witnesses. I'm glad to hear that, Miss Jackson. This will be a very good learning experience for you. I'm happy to have you join us. Thank you, Your Honor. Defendant is ordered out for October 3rd, and all counsel are ordered to be present by 9:30 a.m. We'll see everybody then. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Hey, Jessa, give me just 1 sec, all right? Hi, Vega. How are you? Look, I was hoping we could... Fuck off. This is gonna be a long week. 2 ex-girlfriends at once. How lucky am I? Hi, Seojin. Hi, John. Doing alright? Yep. You? Yep. They're calling my case. Right, see you later. Rockford. Rockford. What a dork. Molina? Bingo. How did you get my number? I crawled in through your apartment window and looked at your phone bill. Alright, obviously you got it from Emmeline. I just wasn't expecting to hear from you. What's up? No, I'm in your apartment and I'm very intrigued by this drawer full of butt plugs. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not calling to smash. I was not. I'm going to train you to fight. The topics of conversation that come out of your mouth change so quickly that I have a hard time keeping up. Some big shot lawyer you are. Look, I'm happy you stood up for my girl, and you're a hero and all that shit. But if you're going to be seen in public with us, I can't have you out there getting your ass beat. I have a reputation to maintain. So you need to learn to fight. Okay, well, we were outnumbered 8-2 and they had knives, so... Please, I've seen you play basketball. I know how fast you can move. Okay. Look, that's basketball. It's completely different. I haven't been in a real fight since I was a kid. And I'm a lawyer. I don't think I need to be a master of hand-to-hand combat. And yet you were just in a fight that could have ended with you and your friend getting killed and my girl getting trained. Jesus, worst case scenario. That's why you should be prepared. A stud like you shouldn't have to face a worst case scenario. What are you proposing exactly? I told you, I'm going to train you to fight. It's sort of out of the blue. I've never really thought about fighting. And I'm already at the gym every morning, so I may not really have the time for this. Perfect. I'm up everyone's ass crack at dawn anyway. That is not the phrase. I'll be at Cesar Chavez Park tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'll think about it. No, John, you'll be there because I'm going to be there waiting for you. And you're a gentleman, and you would never stand a woman up. One more thing. Emmeline will be calling you any minute. Say yes to whatever she asks you. I'll see you in the morning, John Rockford. Emmeline, hi. I'm so sorry. I know we just hung out last night and I feel like such a stalker calling you 3 days in a row. You shouldn't feel that way. What's up? Well, actually, I was hoping you might be free Saturday to help me avoid looking super lame. I'm going to a wedding, and when I RSVP'd, I thought I was going to have a +1, but now I don't, and I was wondering if... Emmeline, I would love to go. Really? Yeah, that sounds like fun. Who's getting married? One of my friends from college. I haven't seen her in a while, actually, but we were pretty good friends back then. Okay, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. What time? It starts at 3 o'clock. It's a local church, so it wouldn't be far. Alright, how about I pick you up at 2:30? Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks. I'll see you on Saturday then. Bye. I know my dad was guilty. I accepted that a long time ago. I'm leaving to conduct an interview. I'll be back. Hi, sir. My name is John Rockford. I'm an ADA. Are you Craig Jones?
sure, John Rockford, I know who you are. How you doing?
I'm well, it's nice to meet you.
Same. How are things at the office?
Changed a bit, I expect, since you retired, but we're still fighting the fight.
What brings you here?
I know this is out of the blue, but I wanted to ask you about a case you tried back in the mid-2000s. Defendant's name was Robert Jameson. Beat a woman named Rachel Cross to death.
Oh, yeah, I remember Mr. Jameson. Pretty strong case, as I recall.
It is a very strong case.
Oh, what's your interest in it?
Jameson is a witness of sorts on a cold case homicide we're investigating. There seems to be some odd similarities between the cases.
Is he a suspect on your murder?
No, he was already locked up on yours when this woman was killed.
Can you go into detail?
Not really, but let's just say that the similarities are such that I'm having a hard time digesting that the victims were killed by two separate people.
I see. So you're wondering if there's a chance Jameson might have been innocent.
I'm just exploring it as a hypothetical. As I said, it was a strong case and he was convicted by a jury.
Well, I can tell you this. As prosecutors, we get sick of hearing from defense attorneys how their client is really innocent, and he's a good guy. You know, when the evidence clearly shows otherwise. But Robert Jameson always struck me as a little bit of an odd case. If you've read my file, then you know his attorney had him examined by a psychologist. To his attorney, it seemed like for Jameson the murder and the affair really were completely out of character. So the attorney was operating under the assumption he was experiencing some form of post-traumatic stress disorder from his time in the military, and that his PTSD must have led him to committing the murder. The psychologist didn't find that at all. On the contrary, the shrink thought that Jameson was a remarkably well-adapted human being, socially, emotionally, and mentally. All accounts suggested he was a dedicated husband who adored his daughter, and that he was fairly intelligent and very hardworking. The psychologist also had the opinion that he was the type of person who could handle a tremendous amount of stress and pressure. He did emphatically deny his guilt. And yet the evidence was strong. Surveillance video from a neighbor's house showed he'd been secretly visiting the victim for weeks, that his wife knew nothing about it. He claimed he was taking dance lessons from the woman to surprise his wife, and the defense showed the woman had taken one or two other dance students as a side gig to her full-time job. Yet multiple personal hygiene items and clothing belonged to him were found in her bedroom and bathroom, confirmed by DNA testing. And video shows him leaving the victim's home shortly before she was found beaten to death. And Jameson is a very strong man, the type of person who could very easily beat someone to death in a fit of rage. And yet you're not convinced. I don't know. I've learned some things about his time in the military, and it seems a bit sloppy for a man with his background. He should have noticed that a video camera would capture him leaving the house after the murder. He must have been aware that his clothes and toothbrush were still in her house and would tie him to her. Obviously, we see murderers make those kinds of mistakes all the time. I just would have expected him to be smarter. When people commit crimes of passion, they aren't thinking straight. In the heat of the moment, they forget about those kinds of details.
I don't think he planned to kill her, and he hadn't thought ahead of time about the clues he would leave behind. He got angry about something, beat her to death, and then left in a panic. There's nothing unusual about it. Look, I am convinced he's guilty, yes, but I was a prosecutor for 35 years. In every trial, what do we tell the jury? We can only prove a case beyond reasonable doubt. We can't ever prove a case beyond all possible or imaginary doubt. The fact is that as prosecutors, we've got to accept living with some level of doubt. We don't have a perfect system, but it's the best one we can come up with. I feel very confident Robert Jameson murdered Rachel Cross, with whom he was having an affair. That being said, if you find evidence that disproves that theory, you will have my full support in getting the case dismissed. Hey, I finally found something on Andrus, a marriage certificate. Really? In 1993, he got married to a woman named Jemina Flores, who then took his last name of Fedor. Okay, so that's probably the mother of his son from that picture that Emmeline gave us. Have you got her address? She's dead, and according to her death certificate, she died in October of 2001 of, get this, accidental blunt force trauma. Accidental blunt force trauma? Was there an autopsy? No autopsy, but are your alarm bells going off too? Who signed the certificate? That question has a very interesting answer. Jamina's death certificate was signed by the same doctor who signed your dad's death certificate. Huh. Okay. Is it possible they could have the same emergency room physician? No. Your dad died on a fishing trip on the Kern River. Jamina died in El Valiente. So I looked up the doctor. It turns out that he spent his entire career with the military. But just our fucking luck, he died in 2015, so we can't interview him. Okay, so what do we think? Jamina was murdered and the military covered it up? It's certainly looking possible. Why?
You have reached the voicemail box of... He looks funny.
Shh, you mustn't say such things in front of him. You'll hurt his feelings.
No, Daddy, he's not real.
Of course he is. Look at his big long ears. He hears everything.
No, Daddy, he's not real.
He has... Has he got 2 legs just like you?
Oh, yeah?
And has he got 2 arms just like you?
Well, they're not really like mine.
And what about his eyes?
Well, they're just buttons, Daddy.
Ah, but he's looking right at you.
Daddy, can he really see me?
Yes, and that's why you must always remember to... What are you doing here? Elena, stand up and move to the other side of the room. Who is paying you? I will double it. If you kill me, it will mean your death. The shots will bring my men. There's no way to leave here alive. But if you spare me, I'll...
Daddy?
No! Good morning.
Oh, you came, John. You're such a gentleman after all.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
Because you secretly wanted to become a vigilante and spend your nights beating criminals to a pulp with your bare hands?
Absolutely. I've been fantasizing about all of the epic things I'm going to do when you turn me into a killing machine.
Really? Like what?
Well, I was wondering if they still had ninjas. Maybe I could move to Japan and become a ninja.
And what is it that you think ninjas do?
Sneak into the houses of their enemies, slay them in their sleep, that kind of thing.
Is that what I'm training you for? so you can sneak into someone's house and slit their throat. Well, I don't have any enemies at the moment, but you never know. Seems like one of those useful skills to have in your back pocket. Are you nervous, John? What? Oh, that's adorable. I'm not nervous. I'm just a bit confused as to why I'm here, and I'm confused why you're here. Can't somebody just do something nice for someone else? Well, I am glad you called me. I was hoping to see you again. Unfortunately, this course does not cover throat slitting or sneaking into people's houses. But if you are ever again in a situation where you are attacked, the chances are lower that you'll get killed. Even against 4 guys. If I would have more time with you, absolutely. The physical ability is there, but even then, up against 4 other men with training, you would lose. The men who attacked you didn't have that training, though. They were just a bunch of lowlifes. How could you know that? Because based on what Emmeline told me, if they would have known how to fight, then you wouldn't have lasted as long as you did. Look, you're too old and too busy for me to turn you into a legitimate weapon, but I can give you the best odds of survival if you ever find yourself in a must-fight situation again, no matter how many opponents you have. Show me how you would stand in a fight. Imagine that I've approached you aggressively and I'm standing in front of you and you believe I'm about to hit you. Okay, let's just make a few changes right now. First, I want you to adjust your feet so that all 10 toes are pointed at me. Good. Now bring your arms out in front of you with your elbows pointed at the ground. And then open up your palms and face them toward me. Good. You did well today. Well, you're a good teacher. So, what does your work week look like? Any international traveling coming up? I don't have any travel planned right now, but sometimes I get a call and I'm gone the next day. And then I might be gone for weeks. With no notice. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. It's what I signed up for. Seems like it would be hard to maintain a social life with such an unpredictable schedule. Oh, are you saying that because you want to be my boyfriend? That's really sweet. That's exactly what I was thinking. What about you? Any more big shot lawyer stuff going on? I am in trial next week, but it's just a run-of-the-mill gang murder case. One gangster kills an enemy, then that victim's homie comes back and kills that murderer in retaliation. Wait, so Cholo 1 kills Cholo 2, Cholo 3 takes revenge and kills Cholo 1. Yeah, basically. So what? What do you mean? I mean that it sounds like Cholo 3 did you a favor. You don't really mean that. You're just giving me a hard time. The one that got killed, what's his name? Okay, so first Stomper kills Cuervo, and then Frog kills Stomper. So I'm prosecuting Frog. And Stomper's a gangbanger, right? He's a violent guy. Yes, he's got a history of violence, but I asked the judge to exclude his criminal history from evidence so the jury wouldn't hear about it. Why? What do you mean, why? It's not relevant. Not relevant. You're gonna ask the jury to convict Frog for killing Stomper, but you're gonna hide the fact that Stomper was a complete asshole. No, the jury knows that Stomper killed Cuervo. That's motive evidence. But so what if he did a drive-by shooting when... A drive-by shooting? What the fuck? Has he killed anyone else? No, well, I can't say for sure, but nothing we know about. Look, John, if I was one of your jurors, I would want to know about that. And if I found out that you were using lawyer tricks to hide it from me, I'd be pissed off. It's not a lawyer trick. Jurors are supposed to evaluate a crime based on the law and the evidence, not based on whether or not the victim was a nice guy. Okay, well, what about this? Maybe Frog actually had a positive long-term effect. What if Stomper had lived and he was going to do another drive-by shooting and a stray bullet would have hit some innocent little kid? Frog may actually have saved that little kid's life. That's rampant speculation. No, it's evaluating risk and taking preventative measures. You want to preemptively kill everyone who might murder someone in the future. Not everyone, John. Just pieces of shit who deserve it. And so Frog is actually a hero, is that it? To protect the sheep, you've got to catch the wolf, and it takes a wolf to catch a wolf. That's from Training Day. You do realize Denzel was the villain in that movie, right? Not the hero? And why is it that Frog gets a pass from you while Stomper doesn't? They're both killers. Okay, you're right. I'm being a smartass. We can't leave it to the gangbangers to take each other out because they are all a bunch of fuck-ups and they always end up killing innocent people. And you are doing a good thing by locking up another gangbanger who is also violent. But John, you can't honestly tell me that you'll lose sleep if the jury walks Frog. Stomper had it coming. I've worked very hard on this case. I'd be disappointed if I'd lost. So it's a professional interest, that's all. No, it's more than that. I want to win the case for Stomper's mother. She'd be crushed if the jury acquitted the man who murdered her son. She knew what he was and she loved him anyways. This isn't fair to her. But I'd feel sympathy for the victim even if he was a homeless person with no family. Everyone's life has value, Melina. What value did Stomper's life have, John? He spent his life hurting people. Did he even have a job? Nah, maybe some drug dealing. So he contributed nothing. You know he created a shit ton of stress for his mom. Whether or not she'll admit it, she's better off with him dead. So what value did his life have? His value was that he was a human being. So then are there going to be a lot of news cameras in the courtroom for this trial, just like there were when you had that big shot case? There will be no cameras, just his mother. And what if the victim had been another famous person, or a cute little white girl? Then there would again be a lot of cameras. And yet you're sitting here telling me that the life of this violent gangbanger had just as much value as anyone else's. Well, I guess you're right. I guess I'm telling you how I feel, not how everyone else does. I hope I didn't offend you. I do respect the work prosecutors do. Not at all. I enjoy a healthy debate. You know, you and Emmeline seem like unlikely friends. What do you mean by that? I don't know, you just seem like very different people. She's a stay-at-home, watching movies kind of girl, and you... and me? I'm not sure yet. You're really daft. I love watching movies, and I love watching movies with Emmeline. Does she ever work out with you? Yeah, I've taught her some self-defense, and sometimes I go to yoga class with her. She seems like a really sweet person. What's this case you're investigating now that involves your dad's? It's a homicide case, an old murder from 20 years ago that went unsolved. And there's a connection to your dad's military unit? Maybe. We're not sure yet. I can't really go into detail. Emmeline told me you never met your dad. Yeah. What do you know about him? You know, I actually should get going. I've got court this morning. This was fun. I learned a lot. Thank you. You're welcome. Another session? Sure. Saturday morning? See you then.
Badges or IDs, please, thank you. So, do you feel good?
Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to meet and go over this.
Just be sure to review the report again before you testify and you'll be fine.
Alright, thank you, sir. It was nice meeting both of you.
And how about you? Is there anything else about the case you want to discuss?
No, I'm just working on my questions for the defendant's mom.
Alright, let me know if you want to talk about anything, but otherwise, let's look at your questions together when you're finished. I've met with all my witnesses. Exhibits are prepared and labeled. Juror questions are ready. Opening statement is prepped and practiced. Closing arguments are organized. I'm about as ready for this trial as I can be. I've got plenty of other cases to work on, but I'm mentally exhausted. The last couple of weeks have been a lot. I need to be honest with myself about that. Old John would just open up a case file and shut out the rest of the world, but I'm trying not to be that person anymore. What I really feel like doing is just going home. Lena, I'm going home.
You're going home? Hey everybody, John's going home!
Going home early?
What? It's only 4.
Hey, what's all the ruckus out here?
John is going home early. Are you sick? Maybe he has a hot date.
Huh, I'm not surprised at all, frankly. I always knew you were a slacker, John. Okay, you guys are hilarious. Have fun, buddy.
What are you going to do?
I don't know, watch TV. Okay, John, I guess we'll just have to pick up your slack.
You go ahead and enjoy sitting around in your underpants surfing the internet. That's real nice of you, Armin. Hey, I've got a question for you. John, you decided to stay and keep me company while I work. What a sweetheart. You dating anybody? Oh my, I always knew this day would come. Isn't this awkward? John, I'm really flattered, but you're not my type. I might have a woman for you. Oh. Is it that girl I like from the toothpaste commercial? Her name is Anna. I hung out with her and her friends the other night. She's cute and a lot of fun. You'll like her. I wouldn't say no to that. Alright, I'll set something up. I'll let you know. Okay, thank you. That's very thoughtful of you. And please enjoy doing whatever you're gonna be doing at home alone today. But remember, the FBI has moles in those pedophile internet forums. Mr. Washington, you're the conservator for a young woman named Colleen Thompson. Please call me back. I believe Miss Thompson is my sister. This is nice. Hi. How are you? Emily, you look stunning. Thank you. You look very handsome. Do you need a few minutes? No, I'm ready. Shall we? Thank you very much for coming with me. It's my pleasure. I'm glad you invited me. Tell me about this friend of yours. Her name is Nosha. We had a class together our freshman year in college. We hit it off and became friends. I haven't seen her that much since we graduated, but we still have a group that gets together about once a year. Our group hung out a couple nights ago. Do you still see any of your friends from college? Not really. You'd think I'd stay in touch with at least my basketball teammates. I guess I met Sean in college, and then we ended up going to law school together. Other than that, I still have a couple of good friends from high school I still see. It's hard to stay in touch with people when your circumstances change. and I'm a little bit introverted, so I tend not to reach out. Other than Anna and Melina, I don't go out very often. I guess I'm a bit of the same way. You don't seem shy, though. No, I wouldn't say I'm shy, but I do tend to spend most of my downtime alone. I know you were a foster kid, but did you have any siblings? No, I was an only child, and none of the foster parents I lived with had any kids. So I spent a lot of time alone when I was a kid. I guess that explains it, huh? I was an only child too. I always wanted brothers and sisters, though. I think my parents wanted to have more kids before they split up. You know, your dad told me that apparently I have a long-lost sister I never knew about. Really? Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I haven't had the chance to meet her yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Where does she live? I'm not sure. She's apparently disabled, a ward of the state, so I'm waiting to hear back from her conservator. Emmeline, do you mind if I ask you about your dad? I think about him a lot, even before I met you, but since I met you, I feel like he's constantly on my mind. He told me that you stopped talking to him. I love my dad. My mom said I was a huge daddy's girl when he was still around, but after what he did, as I grew older, I got so resentful. I kept visiting him, but every time I did, I would just look at him and feel betrayed. Eventually, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I feel really guilty about not visiting him. I know it's totally selfish and that he's alone in there, but... Hey, I'm sorry, you know what? I shouldn't have asked. It's okay. Tell me about your top 5 favorite movies. Well... What a beautiful venue. You know, it's an honor for me to be seen in public with such an incredible woman. I'm afraid you're going to steal attention away from the bride. You're making me blush. Come on, Mr. Charmer, let's... Are you alright? Yes. Let's find seats.
Friends and family, we are so grateful you're able to be here with us today for the joining of 2 people that we all love very much. Nosha Azizi and Arash Jafari, 2 wonderful human beings who have decided to spend the rest of their lives loving and supporting each other. Arash said that before he met Nosha, he had decided that he was, quote, a lifetime solo. But eventually Nosha helped him to realize certain rewards are worth the risks. Hey, are you sure you're alright? If you're uncomfortable for some reason. No, I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. But not to walk alone, no. Because there is strength that can only come from trusting another human being. With our weaknesses.
John, these are my girlfriends from college. Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Kay, this is my boyfriend Donald.
Hey, nice to meet ya.
I'm Tyra.
Are you all local?
Actually, we flew in from Utah a few nights ago. Is that where you're from? No, but we both work in the tech industry. Salt Lake has become a new tech hub over the last decade.
We used to live in San Francisco, but we needed a change.
California is straight up turning into Looney Tunesville.
How do you mean?
Shoplifters, car break-ins, homeless people everywhere. It's just bad. I got attacked by some crazy homeless lady who gave me a black eye. That was the last straw. I was like, Donnie, we are out.
Yeah, Yeah, El Valiente is having its own struggle with homelessness. Seems there are no easy solutions.
We need to put all these drug addicts back in jail. We could clean up the streets overnight. Exactly. That's not really fair, though. I work at a homeless shelter a couple times a month. Most of the people there have had pretty hard lives. Maybe not all of their choices have been the best, but a lot of them admit that. So I think we should be focused on helping those people make changes. I used to be all about rehabilitation. That's before I got hit with reality. Literally. We can help them change their lives from the safety of a jail cell. There's no reason to place all the rest of us at risk while we wait to see if these guys are going to get their acts together. But most homeless people aren't dangerous. When you're addicted to drugs, you'll do anything to get a fix.
What do you do, John? Actually, I'm a criminal prosecutor.
Oh, I know who you are. You're John Rockford. I remember seeing you on TV on the James novel case.
Yep, I had more cameras in my face than the rest of my life combined. Yeah, I had more cameras in my face then than the rest of my life combined. What's your take on how California has changed in its approach to criminal justice? That's a complicated answer. But if I'm being honest, I tend to spend more time thinking about what the law is rather than what it should be. The taxpayers pay me to enforce the law, not to write the law.
How did the two of you meet? Our dads were in the military together. Oh, so you're old friends? Well, actually, we just met recently. It's a long story. Is your dad still in prison? Yep.
You know, it's been a while since I was invited to a wedding. I guess people are worried I'll misbehave or something.
I am actually worried about that. You're such a troublemaker.
Well, you can trust me to not embarrass you. But I would be foolish to waste a golden opportunity to learn more about Emmeline. You all must have some great stories from college.
Oh, we have some stories. And now I regret bringing you. I'm gonna tell him about the stray cat. Oh, no.
Sounds interesting.
So, we all lived at home while we were going to college. Yeah, I was still living with my mom. But one night, at the end of our freshman year, we decided we were all going to get a hotel together. We wanted to bar hop downtown and have a late night without having to worry about going home. So we check into the hotel, leave our bags, change into our cute little dresses, and we walk down to the nearest bar. And everything's fine. We're having a good time, drinking, dancing.
Underage freshmen drinking at a bar. Scandalous.
I may have had a fake ID when I was 19.
Don't worry. So did I.
Mr. TA, I'm shocked. So we finish up at the first bar and the night is still young.
A line that has led to many great stories. The night is young.
So we head to bar number 2, and while we're there, we meet another group that we're talking to. They were boys, and one of them was trying hard to get into our little Emmy's skirt. I don't think he needs every detail. So he shows her some photos of some puppies, says his dog just gave birth. He was full of shit. Probably, but anyway, I'm not sure how well you know Emmeline at this point, but there is one thing in the world that she loves more than anything else. Oh my god. Babies. Oh boy. Emmeline loves human babies, dog babies, rabbit babies, all the babies. And so she isn't going to go home with this guy, but she's sure into these puppy pictures. And meanwhile, by this point, she's a few drinks in. So after the guy realizes he's not getting any from her, he bails. But now Emmeline starts talking about how she's going to get a dog. She starts talking, and I swear, she doesn't stop to take a breath for 20 minutes while she talks about all the different breeds she'd consider. And why one breed is better than another, and how much work puppies are, and so on. 20 minutes she went on, until finally Nosha said, let's go somewhere else. We ended up at one more bar that night, and finally we'd all had enough. We pay our tab and stumble out to head back to the hotel. Emmeline could barely stand up straight, and as we pass this dark, scary alley, she announces, oh no, do you have to say this part? That she is going to step into the alley to pee. Then she puts one hand on Nosha's shoulder to steady herself, uses the other hand to reach up under her skirt and pulls her underwear down. She takes them off her feet, hands them to me, and stumbles over behind a dumpster. I'm standing there holding this girl's panties while we can all hear the sound of her piss hitting the concrete. Okay. And finally, after a minute, she comes back. Except now she's holding something in both her arms. It's a cat. It's a big, fat cat. It's a big, fat, noisy cat. The thing is mewling non-stop like it's got a vibrator stuck up its butt. It was so loud. And our sweet, tender-hearted Emmeline tells us that she found this cat who is obviously in pain, and she's going to take it back to the hotel with us. We protest, but she's not having any of it. So there we all are, drunk as fuck, stumbling our way back to the hotel with this loud-ass cat snuggled up against Emmy's chest. Emmy is somehow aware enough to realize that if she walks through the lobby with the cat, she's gonna get kicked out. So she convinces Nosha to open up the rear exit door for her so she can sneak the cat into the hotel. We all get back into the room, and Emmeline puts the cat on her bed while she goes to find something to put water in. Suddenly I hear Nosha start screaming. I look over and everybody is freaking out because out from this mewling cat's vajayjay is coming a baby kitten. What? Yep, all over the bed that the four of us are supposed to be sharing, this cat is giving birth. None of us have any idea what the hell we're supposed to do because we're still drunk as fuck. So Tyra, Nosha, and I just stand there like dumbasses. Emily is standing over the cat talking to her, telling her how she's a good girl, a strong girl. After a few minutes, a second kitten pops out, then a third, and finally 4 total end up on the bed. we're all panicking. There's birth mess all over the hotel bed, and we've got 4 kittens that we have no idea what to do with. Finally, Tyra has a moment of inspiration where she decides we need someone sober to fix this. So she leaves the room and comes back with the hotel receptionist. She was mad. Livid, but like that scary, quiet livid where you're just worried at any moment she's about to pull out a gun and just start, firing wildly at us. She doesn't know what the fuck to do with 4 kittens, so she calls the cops. These 2 male police officers show up and they're looking like this is the funniest thing they've ever seen. 4 19-year-old girls in their short little going-out dresses totally blitzed a huge mess on the bed with all these damn cats and the hotel worker about to murder all 4 of us. They called for animal control, but nobody from animal control was on emergency duty that night, so they had to wait with us for like an hour for someone to show up. Meanwhile, Emmy was the popular girl, and instead of giving us tickets for drinking, this one cop is flirting with her. They ended up going out. Like 2 dates. Anyway, finally somebody from animal control shows up and they take the cats. I think the hotel worker wanted to kick us out, but she thought that would end up being more work, so she just brought in some clean bed sheets. She didn't put them on the bed though, she made us do it. And then the next morning she came in and made us check out like 2 hours early. I'm guessing you were put on the hotel's terror watch list. Oh, if she would ever see us on the street, she'd probably attack us. That's a pretty great story. I had no idea Emmeline was such a party girl. I'm not. She actually got boring by our senior year. We'd go out and she'd have a glass of wine and then watch the rest of us get sloppy. I just like to be in control. Let me tell you, I've lost count of the number of times I wish I would have stopped at one drink. I think we can all say amen to that. Are you going to tell us a story? Nope. Seeing as how there isn't anybody here who knows any better, I'm going to go on pretending to be a pillar of self-restraint and virtue. Thank you for dancing with me. I just needed a little break before they cut the cake. I'm having a great time. But hey, I've just got to run to the men's room, okay? I'll be right back. Oh, okay. Well, look at you. Where'd she go? The hell is this? Hey. Emmeline? This is a private conversation, man. Go get yourself a drink. I'll let you know when you let go of her. That was a hazardous move, bro. You should be more careful about who you put your hands on. But kicking your ass here would be rude to our hosts. Plus, if I hit you and spray your pussy blood all over my suit, it's gonna be a bitch to get dry cleaned. I win anyway, schmuck, since you're about to find out that you're with a bitch that's been used up. She used to be a fantastic piece of ass. It's too bad she used to be a fantastic piece of ass. It's too bad she's probably not as tight now as when she was in college. Still, congratulations on tapping that. Don't. Emmeline, are you okay? I'm sorry, but can you take me home now? Of course. Emmeline, do you want to talk to me about what happened back there? I'm really sorry I ruined the night, John. I'm not upset. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Would you mind sitting here with me for a while? Of course not. I'm sorry, it was such a nice time. It was a nice time. I'm glad you invited me. I didn't know he was going to be there tonight. I didn't think they were still in touch. His name is Tanner Cook. He had a few classes with us, and so we hung out a few times. He had asked me out, but I told him I wasn't interested in him. When our freshman year was over, there was a party at this girl's house. It was a big house. Her dad started like a software company or something. There were probably over 50 people there. I hung out with my friends for a few hours, so I had a lot to drink. And by the end of the night, I was having a hard time standing up. My friends weren't ready to leave, so I went to go look for a bed to lie down on. He came into the bedroom a minute after me. I told him to get out, but I couldn't really. I was just so drunk. He raped me. I never told my friends. I was embarrassed. Did he do something tonight? No, well, not physically. He was taunting me. I'm sorry. He must have been waiting for me to step away. Yeah, I think he was. Did you ever talk to anybody about what he did to you? Did you make a police report? I didn't call the police. I thought it was my fault because I was drunk. And plus, I didn't want to have to talk to a stranger about it. And they do those rape tests. Are you mad at me? Why would I be mad at you? For not calling the police? No. Emmeline, look, that choice was yours to make, and whatever choice you made was the right one, okay? I eventually told my mom, and I saw a therapist for a while, but it wasn't until I researched my paper on sexual assault that I talked to anyone else about it. It was 6 years ago, and I've had a lot of time to heal. I just wasn't expecting to see him there tonight. That day on the basketball court, I was so scared. When you got stabbed, I thought they had just killed you. And I was horrified, but instead of being sad for you, the thought went through my head. And I was horrified, but instead of being sad for you, the thought that went through my head was, they're going to rape me now. All of them. You will never know how much your being there meant to me. Well, look, I'm really glad that I was there tonight, but I am sorry that he upset you. I want you to know that it was really fun hanging out with you. Thank you for coming with me. I had fun too. And if you ever want to talk about this or anything else, I'm here. That's very sweet of you. Good night, John. Good night, Emmeline. Tanner Koch, professional fighter, lives on the west side of Santa Valeria, expensive area. Lots of different women in his social media photos. Presents himself as a ladies' man. Fucking rapist is all he is. He's never going to be punished for it. I need to let this go. Me getting angry doesn't help Emmeline at all. It's time to go home. He seemed like he was definitely a little bit uncomfortable with the conversation. And I thought, well, maybe that was too much of an overshare. Like, maybe I don't know him well enough to be telling him about that. But I just felt like I owed him an explanation. And also, like, I trust him. I feel like he's someone that I want to share that with, even though I haven't known him very long. But maybe I should have just kept it to myself. I get the feeling that boy is sealed up tighter than a submarine. I think you did the right thing. That jackass got John involved. It's only fair that he knew what was going on. John didn't seem uncomfortable, though. He seemed like legit mad. At the reception? At the reception? Well, yeah, but also after, when I told him what happened. Like, he was uncomfortable, but also just pissed. I guess that's normal. Did it seem like John was gonna take Tanner's bait? I think he was about to hit him. Oh my god, that would have been a disaster. Mister, I always look for a peaceful resolution. I have a hard time seeing it. Whether or not John's ideals are misplaced, he is a man of principle. Can I ask you about John? Do you like him? I'm not interested in John, but I do respect him. What about you? Are you still on the John Rockford train? I am still totally on his train. I am totally still on his train. I am totally still on his train. But don't worry, my bestie will always come first. I love you, Mal. I love you too, Emmy.
Stay seated. Court is again in session. All right, Miss Valencia, bring in the first 4 prospective jurors.
Will you turn around? The last thing we need is for the jury to walk in and see you leering at the clerk's ass.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stillwell. Ladies and gentlemen, come in, please, and have a seat in the front row of the jury box. We appreciate all of you being here today to fulfill your civic duty as jurors. Jury service is a very important function of our society. It is a constitutional right guaranteed to every person charged with a crime in the United States. Everyone is required to register for jury service. Even the lawyers and I have to show up for jury service if we get summons. The only exceptions are police officers and firefighters. So everybody wants to know how they can go out. So everyone that wants to know how they can get out of jury duty, well, go become a police officer. Right now, we're going to ask you all some questions. Our goal here is to find out if you'd be a good fit for this case. Juror number 1, and the far seat on my right, we'll start with you. Can you tell us your occupation?
I'm a musician.
Do you have a spouse or significant other, and if so, what is that person's occupation?
No, I'm single.
Do you have any children, and if so, what are their occupations?
No children.
Have you ever served as a juror before?
No.
Can you think of any reason why you could not be a fair juror on a murder case?
No, I can be fair.
All right, the lawyers are going to have some questions for you now, starting with the defense.
Ma'am, what type of musician are you? Do you play in a band? Are you a composer? I play the clarinet for El Valiente Symphony Orchestra. Have you or anyone close to you ever been the victim of a serious crime? I was robbed at gunpoint about 20 years ago. Was the person who did that ever caught? No, the police never found who did it. And does that experience have any impact on you today? I would say so. Even 20 years later, I'm still careful about being alone when I'm out and about. I try to make sure there are always people around. Does it bother you that the perpetrator was never caught? Do you think you might hold it against my client, Mr. Zelada? No, I guess some people just get away with some things. Hopefully he was in a bad place and he's become a better person now. But it wasn't this defendant who robbed me, so I wouldn't hold it against him.
Yes, ma'am, I agree that anyone charged with a crime is innocent until proven guilty.
Thank you. No further questions for this juror.
All right, thank you, Miss Stillwell. Mr. Rockford. Sir, have you ever had a negative experience with law enforcement? Well, I had gotten stopped by a traffic officer a few years back. Okay, so you got a traffic ticket? Yeah, I may have been given a ticket at some point. At some point during the traffic stop? Or maybe after.
After the traffic stop, what happened after the traffic stop? Well, I mean at the station. He took you to the station, so you got arrested. Yes. Okay, and why did you get arrested? He had stopped me because I was driving badly. When you say driving badly, what do you mean? Swerving, that kind of thing? Okay, so you were arrested for reckless driving? Well, not exactly. Okay, so he stopped you for bad driving, and then why did he arrest you? Well, he said he didn't like my attitude. I see, so there was friction between the two of you. What? Did you argue? Yeah, we argued. Was that because you didn't think you were driving badly? No, I was driving badly. Alright, did you admit to him that you were driving badly? Yeah, I knew I was driving badly. I admitted it. So what were you arguing about? Well, whether I should be arrested. Juror number 4, will you please tell us exactly what charge it was that you were arrested for? Lewd conduct in public. A police officer pulled you over because you were driving badly and swerving, and then once you were pulled over, you had an argument with him because he said he was going to arrest you for lewd conduct in public? Yeah, that's right. I see. What did he say that the lewd conduct was that you were doing? Well, I was watching porn on my phone. While you were driving? Yeah. At the time that the police officer pulled you over, were your pants down? Yes, sir. No further questions, Your Honor. Alright, I think that's a good stopping point. Let's go ahead and take our noon recess. Everyone have a good lunch, and we'll see you back here at 1:30. I guess some people just get away with some things. He raped me. I guess some people just get away with some things. What else has he done? Has he ever been arrested before? I could run his rap sheet from my computer. That would be an illegal personal use of the software, but no one would ever find out. Tanner Cock, no criminal convictions. But we did evaluate a case for filing. 3 years ago, a woman accused him of rape. He said they had consensual sex. It was a he said, she said case. Our office rejected charges citing insufficient evidence to convict. Maybe I could convince Emily to come forward with both women accusing him. Oh. The victim is now deceased. I guess some people just get away with some things. What a crock of shit. I've never asked you, what was it like clerking for a United States Supreme Court justice? I loved it. She was very demanding, but she was also willing to sit down with us and talk through complex issues. Her mind is incomparably brilliant. She would come up with ideas that only made sense if you could look 10 steps ahead in your legal reasonings. And as a person, she's surprisingly down to earth. She's someone I really respect. And I'm glad that we have so many women on the Supreme Court now. 4 out of the 9 justices are female. I agree. I think it's inspiring to young girls to have such visible, powerful women. What are your plans after the DA's office? I don't see you spending your career here. Why does everyone keep asking me that? I like being a DA. You're too ambitious for this job, Jamie. Unless you want to run the office one day. I've only been here for a year. I'm not planning any takeovers yet. It's never too early to start making political moves. A Carrington should know that better than anyone. What about you? How are you juggling work and motherhood? Oh my God. Between coming back to work full time, the foundation, and mom duties, I barely had time to come up for air. Thank God Richard's mother has been willing to babysit Dylan whenever we've needed. And thank God I got promoted to management, or I probably would have had to drop the foundation. I can't imagine having to do jury trials right now. I'm glad too, because I know my parents really appreciate you running the foundation for them. Have you thought about getting involved? At some point I would like to, but I just applied to be an adjunct professor at El Valiente College. If I get it, the foundation will have to wait a few years. Besides, with you running things, the Carrington Foundation is in very good hands. Is it? I really can't do much with it other than the bare minimum. If we had a full-time executive and someone actually doing fundraising, the foundation could be much more than it is. I've asked your dad about expanding it, but he hasn't ever committed, and I don't have time to do anything other than what I'm already doing. To be honest, other than John's scholarship, I don't know much about it. Right now, we have an annual budget of about $6 million benefiting 13 individuals. But that $6 million is funded entirely from your family's personal accounts. Sure, it's a tax write-off for your parents, but there are other sources of funding that could be tapped. $6 million? What are my parents spending their money on? How do you choose the beneficiaries for that much money? I don't choose the beneficiaries. There's no application process. The foundation isn't publicized in any way. They're all people that your dad has just said to me, here's someone that needs us, and then I take care of it. Like John. Right. Although obviously back then your mom was doing what I do now. Well, then how did my parents even find out about him? How did my family pick some apparently random teenage boy and decide to pay for him to attend one of the most expensive private schools in the country? You know, I asked your dad that once. He sort of brushed me off. What's up with you guys anyway? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, come on. You're not with the congressional aide anymore, right? Oh, God, no. I broke up with him when I left DC. Okay, so I knew you've always had a crush on him, even when he and I were dating. I did have a crush on him for so long. but I'm afraid he'll always think of me as Trevor's kid sister. I don't think so. You just need to spend more time together. You're both adults now. You'll see that. That's what I thought when I moved back here. I thought maybe this was a chance for us to finally become close as equals. And we have been spending a lot of time together, and in a way we have gotten closer. But he's just so impregnable. We'll have this moment where I think we're connecting, and then suddenly he'll just put on his little John Rockford charming face and break up the intimacy. I can never tell what his honest feelings are. He just refuses to let me in. Believe me, I know better than anyone how frustrating it is trying to be close with him. In 6 months, I don't think I ever saw him display any genuine emotion. He was respectful, kind, and fun to be with, but I don't think I ever saw the real John Rockford. He hides who he really is behind that polished facade, and I never felt like I understood him. I never felt like he wanted me to understand him. But I think for those of us who know about his past, all I ever knew about his past was what I read in his file. When you're in a relationship with someone, that's not enough. What can you do when someone you're supposed to be intimate with forcefully keeps you at a distance? You have an in with him that the rest of us don't, Jamie. You are actually a part of his past. And yet, he still keeps me out. So, you're over him? I don't know. I still have feelings for him, but I'm starting to think that maybe it's time for me to grow up and move on. If that's what needs to happen, then I'll accept it. But he'll still be an important part of my life. I'll always care about him as a friend. And if he comes to you tomorrow and professes his love, then we will immediately engage in 72 straight hours of raucous lovemaking. If you really want to be with him, Jamie, you need to go into it without your crush blinders on. You need to be okay with the fact that what you get from John now may be all he has to give. It may be that he never really feels like an intimate partner. Don't get me wrong, he has a lot to offer. He's kind, honest, hardworking, and principled. But is all of that enough for you? No, he's more than that. I know he didn't ever let you see it, but John is a man for whom the people close to him are deeply important. He's just afraid to admit it, even to himself. He's got himself locked away safely in a tower where he thinks he can't ever be hurt again. But he needs his friends, he needs the people that love him. And whether it's just as his friend or something more, I will always be there for him. Some things have been happening in his life. Things that are hitting him harder than he'll ever admit. And I have a feeling that something very bad is coming for him. Something he can't hide from. And he's going to find that the tower of solitude he's built for himself hasn't kept him safe at all. All it's done is cut him off from the people who can help him. And when that bad thing comes for him, the walls will shake, the tower will crumble, and John will fall. When that happens, I'll be there to catch him. Your Honor, the defense accepts the panel as presently constituted. All right,
People?
People accept.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've all been selected to serve as jurors in this case. We'll start first thing tomorrow morning. The attorneys will give their opening statements and the people will present their first witness. Motherfucker. We'll start first thing tomorrow morning. The attorneys will give their opening statements and the people will present their first witness. We'll see everybody here tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now proceed with the people's presentation of their case in chief. Mr. Rockford, your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Officer Villarreal. Officer Villarreal, you were the first responder to the crime scene on August 1st, 2020? Yes, I responded to a report of shots fired. What did you see when you got there? Upon my arrival, I observed a small group of people gathered near the entrance to an alley. I also saw that there was a male Hispanic individual laying on his back in the middle of the alley. I immediately recognized him as Johnny Valdez. What condition was he in? Mr. Valdez appeared to be suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. It appeared he'd been shot on the right side of his head and at least once in the back. Did you attempt CPR? No, sir. Mr. Valdez's eyes were open and he gave no signs of life. Paramedics arrived 2 minutes later and pronounced him dead on scene. Other than the apparent gunshot wounds, did you see any evidence of a shooting? Yes, I saw and marked the locations of 4 expended 9mm bullet casings. Did you find any witnesses to the shooting? No, sir. The crowd was generally uncooperative with us. I spoke with a couple of people who said they heard gunshots, but nobody wanted to tell us whether they had seen anything. I believe one of the other officers who arrived did locate someone who said they had seen a gray Honda Civic driving away. Objection, hearsay, request the last sentence be stricken.
Sustained. Officer Villarreal, you're a member of the El Valiente Police Department's gang suppression team.
Yes, and specifically I am assigned to monitor the Latin Gentleman Gang.
Do you know the defendant in this case, Esteban Zelada?
Yes, Mr. Zelada had admitted to me that he is a member of the Latin Gentleman Gang with the moniker of Frog. He also has a gang tattoo on his chest.
In your experience as a gang officer, is it common for gang members to commit violent crimes?
Yes, this is expected behavior when you belong to a gang. Why? Gangs operate on respect and fear. If they aren't being feared by members of the community, then they won't be able to get away with criminal acts like robbery, burglary, assault, and drug sales. Members of the community know that if they cooperate with law enforcement against a gang, there will be a violent retaliation. What can happen to people who snitch on a gang? Snitches get stitches, or snitches end up in ditches. If you snitch on the gang, you can be severely assaulted, or you can be killed. What about violence against other gangs? If a gang isn't respected by its rivals, then the rival gangs will come in and push that gang out of its own territory. The only thing keeping those rival gangs out is knowing that the gang will use violence to defend its territory. So what happens is these gangs have long-standing feuds where they've been fighting over territory for decades. One gang comes in and kills a member of a rival gang, and so now that rival gang has to go into the other gang's territory to retaliate. If they don't, they'll be seen as weak, and that will invite even more aggression. What is the relationship between the Latin Gentleman gang and the North Vario gang? The Latin Gentleman and the Northern Vario gang have a long feud that started in the 1980s. Each gang has committed dozens of violent acts against each other. Did Johnny Valdez belong to a gang? Yes, Mr. Valdez was a well-known and well-respected member of the Northern Vario gang. He used the moniker Stomper. So the victim, Johnny Valdez, and the defendant, Esteban Zelada, belong to rival gangs. That's correct. Did you know a man named Bautista Juarez? Yes, Mr. Juarez was also a member of the Latin Gentleman with the moniker of Cuervo. According to what the defendant told me, he and Mr. Juarez were best friends. Mr. Juarez was murdered 1 week before Johnny Valdez. We believe that Mr. Valdez had killed Mr. Juarez, but the case was still under investigation. Sorry, Johnny, but I think you had this one coming.
Thank you. Nothing further. Cross-examination.
Have you arrested my client before? Yes. What for? Trespassing. He had a disagreement with the father of his child's mother. Nonviolent? Correct. Are you familiar with his criminal record? Yes. Other than this case, has he ever been arrested for a crime of violence? No. All right, let's talk some more about gang culture.
I conducted a traffic stop on the defendant the day after the murder. He was driving a gray Honda Civic. I located a spent 9mm bullet casing from underneath the front passenger seat. This casing would have been ejected from a 9mm semi-automatic handgun when the gun was fired.
What hairstyle did the defendant have?
His head was shaved. A bullet cartridge includes both the bullet itself, which flies toward the target when the gun is fired, and the cartridge casing that is left behind. When a gun is fired, the firing pin strikes the bullet cartridge and creates a unique mark on the bullet casing. Each gun creates its own unique mark on bullet casings, so it's possible for us to look at two spent bullet casings and compare the marks on them to see if they were fired from the same gun. In this case, there were 4 casings that were ejected from the shooter's gun and left at the crime scene. I was given those casings, and I was also given the one casing that was recovered from the defendant's car the day after the murder. I put both sets of casings under the microscope at the crime lab and saw that they all had the same markings. So I concluded that the bullet casing found in the defendant's car was fired from the same gun that was used to kill the victim.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our evening recess now. We'll see everyone back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Good night, Vega.
Do you need something? Can we talk? Can you please leave so I can lock up?
So, what do you think so far?
This case is really interesting to me.
To be honest, it's a pretty run-of-the-mill gang murder. It's not a case we would normally handle here in the Major Crimes Unit. But when I got transferred here, I was already handling it, and I promised the victim's mother I would keep it. It doesn't feel run-of-the-mill like the other gang cases I've seen. Why is that? I guess it's because the suspect's brother is testifying against him. Meanwhile, his mother is testifying for the defense to say the brother is lying. That's a good point about the brother. It isn't very common to have a cooperative family member working with the prosecution. Is there a story behind it? Do they have a history? Well, don't misunderstand. The brother doesn't particularly want to be involved. He's just trying to do what he feels is right. Isn't it true that usually both brothers would belong to the same gang? That is often true, but not always. Look, the defense attorneys always want you to feel sorry for these guys. Bad family situation, rough neighborhood, etc. They had no choice but to join a gang, right? Well, that's bullshit. There's always a choice. And yeah, it's unfortunate that these guys get into this stuff at such a young age. But the fact is that there are plenty of other kids from these neighborhoods that don't join the gangs. Plenty of people manage to pull themselves out of a shitty childhood and become contributing members of society. And this is just a case where one brother made a good choice and the other one didn't. Do you have siblings? No. I have a brother that's a year older and a sister that's a year younger. Sometimes when we were growing up, we'd get on each other's nerves. But at the end of the day, I always knew that if it came down to it, they'd have my back. And I think if I knew that my brother or sister had done something wrong and the police wanted me to testify against them, I don't know if I could do that. And when it comes to your parents, people that are supposed to love you unconditionally, well, can you really blame his mom for trying to cover for him? If his mom gets up on the stand and lies under oath, then she's absolutely wrong, Jessa. Anyways, thank you for letting me work on this with you. I appreciate your help. Let me know if you want to talk through anything. John Rockford.
Mr. Rockford, this is Denver, Washington. You left a message for me last week.
Yeah, hi, thank you for calling me.
Well, it was a very surprising message. I've been Colleen's conservator for a long time, and I've never heard anything about her having a sibling.
Well, I had no idea I had a sister, and I actually never even met our father, Solomon Hobbs. But recently I had a conversation with an old friend of his who told me about Colleen.
I see. And what's your plan?
My plan? Well, I guess I just want to meet her, get to know her.
And are you intending to petition for custody of Colleen?
I don't know. I just wanted to meet her.
Are you able to provide me with a copy of your birth certificate, Mr. Rockford?
Yeah, sure.
If you wanted to be legally recognized as her family, then there is a process for that.
Mr. Washington, I've spent my entire life believing I had no family. I'm just asking you to tell me where she is so I can go and meet her.
All right. I guess that's understandable. Colleen has been living in a state facility since she was a little girl. She is here in El Valiente. I could meet you there tonight if you'd like.
Yeah.
But you need to understand something, Mr. Rockford. Colleen has limited intellectual and physical functioning.
She needs assistance from professional caregivers to do basic tasks like bathing and getting dressed, and her cognitive processing is limited. If you're going into this thinking that you're going to have a normal sibling relationship with her, that is not realistic. That I guess that's what I was expecting to hear, but I'd still like to meet her. All right, well, if you're okay with that, I'll send you the info and let's meet there at 7. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Rockford! I recognize you from TV. Denver, Washington. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for this, Mr. Washington.
It was a surprising phone call, but I'm happy to help.
So what can you tell me about her?
Well, Colleen didn't get the best shake of the dice. She was born with some cognitive disabilities, possibly a result of her mother's drug use while pregnant. Then, when she was 4, her neighbor found her face down in his pool. She'd probably been in there for a good few minutes at least. She suffered an anoxic brain injury, and well, her brain hasn't worked the same ever since.
What exactly is wrong with her?
Might be best if I just showed you, if you're ready to meet her. You'll just need to sign in. Good evening, Miss Mary.
Hi, Denver.
Mary, this is John. You're going to start to see him come around visiting Colleen.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. Are you a volunteer?
Mary, does this young man look familiar to you?
I don't think so.
This here is John Rockford, the famous prosecutor. He was the DA who put James Novel, the record producer, in prison for killing his wife.
Oh, okay, wow.
So he's just here to visit Miss Colleen with me today, and then he'll probably be back by himself another time.
Okay, well, we'll just have you sign in and I'll put your name on her visiting list. She'll love to have you. She's such a sweetheart.
Look, will you do me a favor, John? Will you not tell Colleen who you are? Look, I'm sure you've got very good intentions here, but telling her that, all it's gonna do is confuse her. Colleen has achieved remarkable cognitive recovery over the last several years, beyond what I once believed would ever be possible. But still, the idea of someone telling her, hey, I'm your brother, I just don't know how she'll react to that. Maybe someday, alright? But I've been taking care of this girl for years, and look, for all I know, you may decide to never come back. So will you respect my wishes on this? Knock knock, Miss Colleen. May I come in to say hello? I'm very happy to see you. How are you this evening?
Hi, Denver.
Colleen, you have a visitor. There's someone here who wants to meet you. Can I help you turn around? Here we go.
Colleen, this is John. It's nice to meet you, Colleen. And can she understand me? Colleen, are you happy that John is here? Colleen, thank you for letting me come to visit you. I really like your purple bedroom. I think that purple is really a beautiful color. Miss Colleen, I see that you were working on a puzzle today. You love puzzles, don't you? Sunflower. Yes, Colleen, that's very good. Those are sunflowers. What would you like to do tonight, Colleen? Reading. I thought so. Colleen loves to be read to. She'd probably be okay with just listening to you read the New York Times to her, but what she really loves is listening to stories. She may not pick up on all of the details, but our recent testing suggests that she can mostly get the gist of anything in the older grade school range. That's much better than she was doing 10 years ago. There's one popular volunteer, Mr. Hank, who reads to her a few times a week. She's made it through the entire Harry Potter series 3 times. Let me see if there's anything she's in the middle of. Velveteen Rabbit. Oh, well, that's very sweet, Colleen. John, Colleen would like to share her favorite story with you. Why don't you pull that visiting chair a little bit closer, and I'll sit here. Here was once a Velveteen Rabbit, and in the beginning, he was really splendid. He was fat and bunchy, as a rabbit should be. His coat was spotted brown and white, he had real thread whiskers, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, when he sat wedged in the top of the boy's stocking with a sprig of holly between his paws, the effect was charming. There were other things in the stocking, nuts and oranges and a toy engine, and chocolate almonds and a clockwork mouse, but the rabbit was quite the best of all. And so the little rabbit was put into a sack with the old picture books and a lot of rubbish and carried out to the end of the garden behind the fowl house. That was a fine place to make a bonfire, only the gardener was too busy just then to attend to it. He had the potatoes to dig and the green peas to gather, but next morning he promised to come quite early and burn the whole lot. The little rabbit lay among the old picture books in the corner behind the fowl house, and he felt very lonely. The sack had been left untied, and so by wriggling a bit, he was able to get his head through the opening and look out. He was shivering a little, for he had always been used to sleeping in a proper bed. And by this time his coat had worn so thin and threadbare from hugging that it was no longer any protection for him. Nearby he could see the thicket of raspberry canes growing tall and close like a tropical jungle, in whose shadow he had played with the boy on bygone mornings. He thought of those long sunlit hours in the garden, how happy they were, and a great sadness came over him. He seemed to see them all pass before him, each more beautiful than He seemed to see them all pass before him, each more beautiful than the other,
The fairy huts in the flower bed, the quiet evenings in the wood, when he lay in the bracken and the little ants ran over his paws. The wonderful day when he first knew that he was real. Of what use was it to be loved and lose one's beauty and become real if it all ended like this? And a tear, a real tear, trickled down his little shabby velvet nose and fell to the ground. And then a strange thing happened, for where the tear had fallen, a flower grew out of the ground, a mysterious flower, not at all like any that grew in the garden. It had slender green leaves the color of emeralds, and in the center of the leaves a blossom like a golden cup. It was so beautiful that the little rabbit forgot to cry and just lay there watching it. And presently the blossom opened, and out of it there stepped a fairy. She was quite the loveliest fairy in the whole world. Her dress was of pearl and dewdrops, and there were flowers round her neck and in her hair, and her face was like the most perfect flower of all. And she came close to the little rabbit and gathered him up in her arms and kissed him on his velveteen nose that was all damp from crying. "Little rabbit," she said, "don't you know who I am?" The rabbit looked up at her, and it seemed to him that he had seen her face before, but he couldn't think where. "I am the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take care of all the playthings that the children have loved. When they are old and worn out and the children don't need them anymore, then I come and take them away with me and turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." And she held the little rabbit close in her arms and flew with him into the wood. It was light now, for the moon had risen, all the forest was beautiful, and the fronds of the bracken shone like frosted silver. In the open glade between the tree trunks, the wild rabbits danced with their shadows on the velvet grass. But when they saw the fairy, they all stopped dancing and stood round in a ring to stare at her. "I've brought you a new playfellow," the fairy said. "You must be very kind to him and teach him all he needs to know in Rabbitland, for he is going to live with you forever and ever." And she kissed the little rabbit again and put him down on the grass. "Run and play, little rabbit," she said. But the little rabbit sat quiet still for a moment and never moved. For when he saw all the wild rabbits dancing around him, he suddenly remembered about his hind legs, and he didn't want them to see that he was made all in one piece. He did not know that when the fairy kissed him, that was the last... He did not know that when the fairy kissed him, that last time she had changed him altogether. And he might have sat there for a long time, too shy to move, if just then something hadn't tickled his nose. And before he thought what he was doing, he lifted his hind toe to scratch it. And he found that he actually had hind legs. Instead of dingy velveteen, he had brown fur, soft and shiny. His ears twitched by themselves, and his whiskers were so long that they brushed the grass. He gave one leap, and the joy of using those hind legs was so great that he went springing about the turf on them, jumping sideways and whirling around as the others did, and he grew so excited that when at last he did stop to look for the fairy, she had gone. He was a real rabbit at last, at home with the other rabbits.